Alright, guys, back again. Why am I wearing Tampa? They're out. Well, we're going contenders. Sure, the season hasn't even ended, but here in my eyes, Stanley Cup contenders for next year. For me, I'm gonna go by each team. Anaheim, oh, they're rebuilding. Anaheim's gonna start rebuilding at this point. Arizona, playoff contender, but I think they're a bubble team. It's gonna depend on if the injuries don't hinder Arizona, because injuries are what hindered Arizona last season. Boston, yes. Boston's in the Stanley Cup final. No doubt they're a Stanley Cup contender. Buffalo, bubble team. Assuming if their new coach doesn't screw them over like Housley did, and they don't screw themselves over with injuries, absolutely. They're a playoff contender, but not yet Stanley Cup. Calgary, I don't buy Calgary as a Stanley Cup contender, so no. I don't think Calgary's a cup contender at any point, honestly. They are the definition of overhyped. Columbus, no. Columbus is in big cap trouble. They're going to be losing a lot of players next year. They have to sign Bob. Well, he's gone. They have to sign Panarin, Duchesne, DeZingle. They have to sign all their free agents that they have. Their top 3 players are UFAs, and they're probably going to be leaving. So, no. Chicago, no. I don't really see Chicago as a Stanley Cup contender at any point. Honestly. Chicago's going through some hard times. I still think their rebuild's going, but the thing is, they have some young players, but the thing is, they're benefiting. But I don't think they're going to be that good next year, especially since the Central's only getting better. Colorado, yes. Colorado's only getting better. You people may say, oh, they're a one-line team. How are they contenders? Cale Makar's looking like a game changer. Eric Johnson's a really good two-way defenseman. They have some really good players outside of McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen. I think they need to sign Rantanen, and then that's basically it. Carolina, maybe. I think Carolina gets a maybe. Edmonton, no. Dallas, not sold on Dallas as a Stanley Cup contender. Let's face it, if you have Ben Bishop, you're not winning a Stanley Cup. If you have Ben Bishop, there's no way you win a Stanley Cup anytime soon. Ben Bishop is the definition of overrated. And he literally gets injured when teams need him the most. That's the thing with Bishop. He's going to get injured in a big game with Dallas next year, and Dallas is not going to recover from that. Detroit, no. Detroit's still in a very bad spot. They're still rebuilding. Edmonton, oh yeah, they're rebuilding. All they got is McDavid and Draisaitl. That's basically it. Florida, I'll give Florida a maybe. They're a borderline, honestly. They're a playoff team, yes, but not a Stanley Cup threat. Not really a Stanley Cup threat. LA, no. The Kings are a rebuild. The Kings are a rebuilder. Though the Kings in general may think they're not rebuilding. Though the Kings front office may think they're not rebuilding, but they are. Let's be real. The Kings are rebuilding. Jersey, bubble team. Considering that Hall was injured for last year, majority of the season, everyone else was injured. If they stay healthy and Hughes turns out to be the player that he's gonna be in the NHL, and he sure produces into an all-star, absolutely. No. Actually, no. I skipped Minnesota. Oh, they're rebuilding. Minnesota's probably going to be the worst team in the Central next year, considering how bad Minnesota is and out of a situation Minnesota is in right now. The Wild are probably the Wild, if you ask me, are probably the best of all the teams that finished in last place, at least in their divisions. But I still think the Wild are in a bad situation. Montreal, No, they are a bubble team. If their scoring they're more of a bubble team because it depends on their scoring wise. It was Domi, Gallagher, and Kokiniemi doing all the work. You can't rely on just those guys. It's gonna hurt you. Paling is good, but then again, and Montreal, I don't think they're as good as people advertise. Jersey, I already went over. New York Islanders, maybe. Maybe for the Islanders. It depends on if their scoring gets better over the offseason, which they need to improve on their goal scoring because that was their problem last season. They couldn't score. Their goaltending was phenomenal. Robin Lehner is the Vezina winner. Robin Lehner is my pick to win the Vezina. Rangers, no. Rangers are not a contender. Ottawa, there's no explanation needed. They're not a Stanley Cup contender either. Pittsburgh, no. Philly, it depends on if Carter Hart can have a successful season, and if Carter Hart plays out of his mind, then yes, I'd say Philly can contend. Pittsburgh, no. They're going downhill. Pittsburgh's going downhill. Everyone's getting old on that team, and they're getting worse. St. Louis, they're in the Stanley Cup final. They made it, so yeah. St. Louis is a contender. San Jose, no. It's time for San Jose to start retooling. Tampa, people may they're a contender. You guys are still good. No, we are not a contender. We are not a Stanley Cup contender at all. We might not even make the playoffs because we have to start retooling now, considering that we couldn't win with a really stacked roster, and we're facing cap issues this offseason. Yeah, this is going to be hard for Tampa to overcome, and honestly, we could see what happened to Chicago and last year, and LA and Anaheim this year, to Tampa next year. We could see that happen. But Tampa's in a very weak division, so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're in a weak division, and they'll be a borderline bubble team. In retour, Toronto, no way Toronto's a contender. Their defense is horrible. They can't win in the playoffs. Marner's a free agent. He's gone because of their cap issues. Vancouver, if they weren't screwed by injuries on the refs, then probably a maybe, but for me, I have them out on the bubble team. Vegas, yes. Vegas is a contender. Considering that Vegas still has a good roster, despite they have cap issues, they still have one of the best rosters in the league. Washington, yes. Washington's easily a contender. People are like, they lost to Carolina. How are they a contender? Washington's still a stacked team. And then Winnipeg, yes. I skipped Nashville. Nashville, definitely not. Out of all the division winners, Nashville was the weakest, and I saw Nashville losing in round 1-2 because I said in my picks, Dallas is a bad matchup for Nashville, and Dallas beat them. And Winnipeg, yes, because Winnipeg is still a good team. They still got a good roster. People are like, they lost Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes is not that good, okay? For me, Winnipeg's still going to be a good team. It's going to be between Colorado and Winnipeg for that division. St. Louis not coming close to that division title, considering how good the Central is. The Atlantic is just weak. There's nobody really that good in the Atlantic. It's just Boston. Tampa started a retool. Toronto, cap issues. Anyway, that's going to do it. I'll see you guys later.